Right now, we'll bring you to a local store looking to help curb the rise in binge drinking among young women. Also, festivities begin as we enter Easter weekend. We'll take you to an Easter extravaganza in Middleton to show you how one church is celebrating. That's coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Young women are now binge drinking more than their male peers in the U.S. That's according to a new study in a women's health research letter published this week. Our Ellie LaLiberte shows us why and what the dangers are.
Meet Christy Tanner.
I opened the first non-alcoholic bottle shop in the state of Wisconsin.
She started Sober Social in Middleton because of her own experiences.
I really struggled with alcohol addiction.
That struggle is something Christy isn't alone in. Women ages 19 to 25 are now binge drinking more than men in the same age group.
It's so normalized.
It's a new trend that heightened back in 2020.
The numbers for binge drinking for women is, I think, anything over 7 drinks in a week. And when I think back to my college experience, it's like I had 7 drinks in a night, and nobody was questioning it.
But she says binge drinking can follow you after college.
For women when they become moms, this mommy wine culture, right? Like this might not be water, right? Everyone thinks that's funny until it's true.
Binge drinking can lead to health complications like liver cancer.
You can socialize and be sober, but we have to have options.
Christy is well aware of the social aspects of drinking, which is why she started Sober Social, to provide that new option.
There's a real opportunity right now for women to be like, we're gonna take this back. Like we're in our mocktail era now.
Reporting in Middleton, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. The study also did find that men in older age groups are still drinking more heavily overall. Now let's get a look at your first warn forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze, it was a pretty nice day here in southern Wisconsin, but what should we expect as we head into Easter?
As we go into your Easter Sunday, we're going to see a little less sunshine as the day goes on compared to what we saw on Saturday. So hopefully you were able to get out and do some Easter egg hunting today, because tomorrow might not be as great of a time outside. We're at freezing in Black River Falls, 44 in La Crosse, as well as in Lone Rock, Madison as well, 46 in Watertown, still near 50 in Monroe. We're at 46 in Stoughton and Deerfield, 43 in Mount Horeb. We're going to sit underneath mostly clear to partly cloudy conditions as we go throughout the rest of your evening. More of us will settle into those 30s and 40s overnight. Now, as we look ahead into your Sunday, we may start off partly sunny, and then as we go throughout the rest of your Easter Sunday, clouds are going to become more increasing, and winds are going to increase as well, ahead of a better chance for rain beginning later Sunday afternoon. So 30s tonight, maybe a few 40s out there across some spots, but generally speaking, we're looking at a pretty seasonal night for most of us. We're going to time out the rain on Easter Sunday and talk about what to expect for the NFL draft as you're heading up to Lambeau Field. That's coming up in the full forecast.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. We'll see you in just a bit. And you can track the forecast for yourself on the First Warn Weather app. It is hourly planners, road conditions, and even radar. You can download it for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC Weather. A Beaver Dam woman is dead after a head-on collision in the town of Elba Friday night. Police say a car was traveling southbound on U.S. Highway 151 in the northbound lanes. It collided with another car that was traveling northbound. After the collision, the first car rolled over several times. That driver was a Beaver Dam woman who was pronounced dead at the scene. 2 passengers in the vehicle, both 17-year-old, sustained serious injuries. The driver of the second car received non-life-threatening injuries. The protests against President Donald Trump and his administration continued this weekend at the Capitol at the same time as the Dane County Farmers Market. The state capitol was met with protesters speaking up for veterans, speaking out against, quote, oligarchs and other issues pertaining to the current administration that they feel exist.
To show them that we're not going to tolerate what they're doing because they're in violation of the law and the Constitution. Right. And that's unacceptable. They're in violation of their oaths. So as far as I'm concerned, they need to lead, follow the law, follow us, or get out of the way and step down, especially when they're in violation of their oaths.
This is just one of many protests to reach the Capitol steps since President Trump took office. Not only is spring in the air, but so is football. The 2025 Spring Showcase gave fans of the Badger football team a first look at the squad ahead of the 2025 season. News 3 caught up with some of the fans there at the showcase to get their thoughts on this year's Badger squad.
Well, new offense, new offensive coordinator, a lot of new players always with the transfer portal, so I want to see what they're bringing to the table.
I'm really excited to see the Badgers play against each other. It kind of gives you a little tell of what the next season is going to look like, and I can't wait to get to the first game of the fall.
The first game of the season is August 28th against Miami of Ohio. That'll be at Camp Randall. Our Andrew Bandstra will join us later to break down today's showcase. This weekend, families are celebrating the end of Holy Week, better known as Easter. Our Tanasia Shaw is showing us how St. Luke's Church in Middleton is celebrating.
Happy Easter! This weekend is filled with families getting together to have fun.
There's like a bunny who gives like eggs and there's stuff inside and there's also toys in there and stuff and candy, jelly beans, all that kind of stuff.
St. Luke's Lutheran Church hosted their 4th annual Easter extravaganza Saturday in Middleton, celebrating the end of Holy Week, when Christians believe Jesus Christ died and resurrected.
Easter is when God died on the cross and he came back to life. Jesus died on the cross and he came back to life.
Roughly 250 people stopped by, participating in the bounce house, face painting, bingo, and of course, what is Easter? Do you know?
Easter Bunny.
Yeah, this is our first year with the Easter Bunny, fourth year of the event, but first year that we had the Easter Bunny is able to show up and take some pictures with some kids and play some games.
A lot of people use Easter as a time to be thankful and reflect. I asked kids what do they like most about this holiday. What is Easter to you?
Family and friends.
Do you like hanging out with your family and friends?
Yes. My favorite part, to see the Easter Bunny.
Finding the eggs. Getting Easter eggs.
Spending time with family.
Reporting in Middleton, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanasia, thank you. Coming up next on News 3 Now at 10, Blaze Keller returns with a complete look of your first one forecast. Plus, the latest on a rare overnight ruling from the Supreme Court blocking recent Venezuelan deportations. And 2026 car lineups are being shown, but car buyers may be hesitant to make the purchase. Why? After the break.
We're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you for staying with us. Today, Elon Musk was seen at a golf course in Virginia with President Trump, just hours after a rare overnight ruling from the Supreme Court. In a 7-2 decision, justices temporarily blocked the deportation of Venezuelan men held by immigration officials in North Texas. CBS's Willie James Enderman is at the White House with details.
This weekend, the U.S. Supreme Court blocked the Trump administration from carrying out deportations of alleged gang members and migrants from a detention center in northern Texas. Lee Gallant, the lead attorney for the ACLU, which sued to stop the deportation, said in a statement, "These men were in imminent danger of spending their lives in a horrific foreign prison without ever having had a chance to go to court." The High Court's decision is part of the latest legal challenge involving the Trump administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act. The authority was used to deport hundreds of migrants, including Kilmar Abrego Garcia, to the notorious Secot prison in El Salvador. The president criticized Abrego Garcia on Friday.
Is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist. This comes out of the State Department and very legitimate sources.
The Department of Homeland Security has admitted Abrego Garcia was deported by mistake, and his family says he is not a gang member. Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen met with Abrego Garcia and says he should be allowed to come back to the U.S. to plead his case in court.
The Trump administration is asserting a right to stash away residents of this country in foreign prisons without the semblance of due process.
The White House claims the men in detention in Texas are violent gang members, and the press secretary said in a statement that the administration believes that it will prevail in the legal fight. Willie James Inman, CBS News, the White House.
Sources say Gary Shapley will no longer be the acting commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service. This comes just days after President Trump signed the paperwork that appointed him to the role. Sources say the outgoing acting commissioner, Melanie Krause, had also announced Shapley's elevation in an agency-wide email on Wednesday. Sources say Michael Folklander will now be taking on the position. He is the Deputy Secretary of the Treasury. Folklander will now be the 5th person to lead the IRS this year. Trump's pick for the full-time commissioner, former Missouri Congressman Billy Long, is awaiting confirmation in the Senate. U.S. security officials say migrant crossings at the U.S. southern border have seen a dramatic drop, so they will not recommend the president to invoke the Insurrection Act. The act allows the president to use active duty troops to perform law enforcement functions, including arresting migrants. But multiple sources familiar with the matter say Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem are preparing a memo to say there is no need for it because they're seeing about 300 migrants trying to cross per day, down from more than 1,000. In January, President Trump declared an emergency at the border. He asked Hegseth and Noem to let him know after 90 days if the act will need to be invoked in order to help obtain, quote, complete operational control of the border. The duo are expected to notify the president of their decision next week. Car manufacturers are already previewing their 2026 vehicle lineup, but President Trump's tariffs are giving buyers pause. Industry experts say even if you're not buying a car yourself, it will cost you. CBS's Ali Bowman is at the New York International Auto Show with the explanation.
Some buyers perusing the showroom floor say they are not racing to the dealership.
Are you worried about the tariffs making it more expensive?
Absolutely. It's going to be ridiculous. So we're going to wait and ride the storm out as long as we can.
Analysts say President Trump's new 25% tariffs on auto imports and auto parts that do not comply with the terms of the U.S.-Canada-Mexico trade agreement that he negotiated in his first term will raise car prices.
There are some manufacturers that may put a new line on the MSRP that says here's a additional co-op because of the tariffs.
Volvo blames waning demand for its plan to lay off 800 workers at 3 U.S. facilities, including the Mack truck site in Pennsylvania. Buick's new lineup brought its sales up 39% in the first quarter, but 3 of their most popular models are made overseas.
I don't think manufacturers are going to be able to turn a switch and all of a sudden say we're going to build everything in the United States.
Experts say even if you are not in the market for a new car, you could still end up paying more due to tariffs on aluminum and steel.
That consumer is totally in charge. And if it's too expensive for them, they're going to pull away.
And Ford Motor is already warning of potential price hikes as early as this summer. The president's tariffs on automobiles are also pushing up the costs of replacement parts and maintenance. And when those costs go up, so does the cost of auto insurance. Ali Bauman, CBS News, New York.
Let's get a look at your first warn forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze, it sounds like you got some news for us for draft week, huh?
That's right. You know, we're going to be sending Zach as well as Eric Franke and Andrew, as well as having our own Green Bay expert there during draft day and obviously through the rest of the draft. So we're going to be taking a look at what we can expect up there in Lambeau as well as what we can expect down here in southern Wisconsin as we go into next week. We are looking at rain to move in as we go into your Easter Sunday, especially later on in the day into the morning hours. If you're going to be going to church services, partly sunny to mostly cloudy. The rain will begin, and then as we head further into your Easter Sunday afternoon, evening, and then further overnight, that rain chance is going to become more widespread. We'll also watch the chance for maybe an isolated non-severe thunderstorm as well. Not to mention, it's going to be breezy as our next low pressure system moves through the area. Across southern and central Wisconsin, a little bit cooler than where we should be for this time of year, upper 40s to low 50s. Better chance for more of that all-day rain. Going to be further south and west across southwestern Wisconsin. So let's jump ahead into your Easter Sunday and watch as that system moves on in. The peak of that rain is going to be Sunday night into your Monday. Some rain-snow mix across northern Wisconsin possible as this low pressure system exits by later Monday evening, and then further overnight it will eventually move away. A little bit of rain is going to be likely on Tuesday as some showers move out of the Dakotas, but we're not anticipating anything compared to what we'll see Monday for your Tuesday. Watch as those rain totals really ramp up here as we go Sunday into your Monday. Anywhere from a half an inch to about an inch of widespread rain is going to be possible. But look at some of these totals coming in across the Mississippi River. 2 to 3 inches in northeastern Iowa, 1.5 to 2 inches of rain out there in Prairie du Chien. So if you live in low-lying areas, if where you live is prone to flooding or ponding, you may want to clear the drains or at the very least get the sub pumps ready because we're coming off of a fairly wet March. We haven't necessarily had prolonged dry periods, so this rain may cause some flooding as our ground is still saturated, but we could still use that rain. Now, as we jump ahead to your draft day Thursday, we are going to watch as some rain showers move through the area. Cold front moves through on Friday morning. So if you're going to be sticking around into your Friday and then further into Saturday, so day 2 and 3, we're looking at low 60s with that rain wrapping up by Friday morning and then a little bit more sunshine, but cooler temperatures there on Saturday compared to Wednesday. I think Wednesday is going to be the best day over the 4-day. 4, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay,
People start rolling in Wednesday. And
4-day little thing going on up there. So definitely go up there Wednesday. We'll be in the 70s down here. Again, take the rain or take the umbrella with you. Take the First Warn Weather app. When I was in Japan, it let me know that it was thunderstorming there.
Really?
So it will let you know if it's thunderstorming in Lambeau.
So that app is pretty advanced to say the least.
It was thunderstorming. I got the alert that lightning was like a half a mile away. Checked the radar back at home. Quiet. Over in Japan, it was thunderstorming.
Okay.
So truly, I couldn't check the radar, but
still,
it works.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's my little plug for our First Warn Weather app.
I may have to download it myself. I do the promos every week. I might as well just invest in that time.
You should.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze. And sticking in the theme of the draft, it's just a few days away, and News 3, as Blaze had just mentioned, will be in attendance. Our sports director, Zach Canley, along with sports anchor Andrew Banstra, evening anchor Eric Franke, and our newest member, longtime Packer insider Jason Wilde, will be bringing you all of your draft coverage. I had the chance to catch up with Wilde ahead of the draft on what it's like having the draft in our state. The draft is right around the corner, and you've been covering the Pack for a really long time. How does it feel covering them this time around with the draft actually being in Green Bay?
Great question, because on one side of it, it doesn't feel any different, right? We're going to talk to Brian Gutekunst next week. He's going to do his pre-draft press conference, and then we're going to cover the draft, and it'll still be like any other draft, whether it's held in Green Bay or New York or Chicago or on the moon, because at Lambeau Field, that's the epicenter of everything that the Packers are doing. Goody is there. They're in their draft room. He's talking with his scouts. They're debating guys to pick in the first, second, third, all the way down to the day 3, 4 through 7. So that part of it is different. On the flip side, obviously, there's no missing the energy that's going to be outside, the excitement, the fan base that's going to be there, the fans from all 32 teams. So in that way, it'll be different. But at its core, it's going to be the same as all the other ones that I've covered during my career.
And coming up in sports, softball surprise, you'll have to see to believe. Andrew has all that next on News 3 Now.
The Bucks finished the regular season on an 8-game winning streak, and the hope was that that momentum would swing into the postseason. But when it comes to the playoffs, you can throw everything else out the window. Giannis, who's played in just 2 playoff games in the last 2 years, was healthy and was fantastic. Converts the reverse layup to give the Bucks an 8-7 lead, but that would be their last lead of the game. In the second, trailing by 15, and the Freak attacks the rim with authority. Plus the foul, he finished with a game-high 36 points, but he could not do it all by himself. His teammates did not provide him much help, and as Doc Rivers said after the game, the Bucks offense was awful. Milwaukee loses game 1, 117-98 the final. To the football field, we told you earlier in the show that today was Wisconsin football's spring showcase, their version of a spring game. Certainly an underwhelming crowd for the intra-squad scrimmage, but the pads were popping, and there's something to be said about that. The players tell us this was their best chance to impress the coaching staff before fall. Before today's Wisconsin softball game, a young girl named Savannah Weigel got to throw out the first pitch, but that's not even the coolest part. You see, her dad, Jonathan, is a master sergeant in the Army who's been deployed for 6.5 months. He returned to U.S. soil and gave his daughter a surprise she'll never forget.
Plus, her father, Master Sergeant Jonathan Weigel.
And now to the game where the Badgers battled the Gophers in a border battle. Wisconsin has been really impressive this season and continued to be today. And tied at 3 in the 6th, Ellie Hubbard gives Wisconsin the lead with a swing of the bat. The solo shot makes it 4-3, beginning a rally, and later in the frame, Emmy Wells breaks the game wide open. A 3-run homer caps off the 6th-run 6th as Wisconsin wins the series opener 9-6, the final. To the baseball field where the Athletics were trying to break the Brewers' winning streak, and Brent Rooker did just that. Tied at 1-1 in the 6th, and the second-year stud goes deep as the Brewers lose it 3-1, the final score. And we finish on the soccer pitch where Forward Madison had their home opener against Texoma FC, and it looked like this one was going to end in disappointment, but Jalen, it certainly did not. How about Derek Gebhardt getting the equalizer 6 minutes into extra time as they get the draw 1-1, the final score. And it just so happens you saw those jerseys they were wearing. We got our own right here, I should say kits that they were wearing.
I made that mistake earlier, didn't know that it was called a kit, and I was swiftly corrected. But yeah, we got our own kits now. Definitely got to go out to a game.
Certainly, and some cool things about these.
With shirts and ties.
How about the isthmus going on here?
Oh.
You got the city and you got the lakes. You got the little forward statue on the bottom of it. These are really cool.
I love how detailed and subtle these things can be, but definitely awesome that Fort Madison was able to come back and, you know, at least tie it up. But
and to help us out with these kits.
Yeah, thank you to them for the kits, and thank you, Andrew, as well. We'll be right back after the break for Easter.
Rainy conditions as the day goes on, cloudy and breezy in the 50s, and then we're back into the 60s and sunny starting on Tuesday.
Sounds good. Hope you all have a wonderful Easter.